Hey guys, we're back. Hi guys. Hey guys, we're back with another video. Today we'll be talking why Naruto for me is the best main character, or why I like Naruto more than every other character there is in anime. Better to me, he's better than Goku, better than Vegeta, Luffy, Zoro, all the other niggas, right? He's better for me because I relate with him more. Because I have more emotional attachment towards him than everybody else. Because this is something really serious for me, but I'm gonna tell you guys anyways because I'm a fucking content creator. Technically, have no life, so let's drive to that point. So I just came across a video on TikTok saying like why Rock Lee should have been the main character instead of Naruto, and he had no soul. To me, it sounded like a lot of Rock Lee bias. Like it just sounded like a bunch of it. Like he was saying about how Rock Lee was having chakra and this and that, but we never even given a reason how this nigga even passed gaining test. So he wouldn't have been a ninja in the first place. I thoroughly believe the only reason that he's a ninja right now is because of pure plot. And no one can tell me differently because it doesn't make sense how he is a genin. It doesn't make sense because this nigga has no chakra, right? But he shouldn't be able to take the exams. And even if the rules were bent for him to become a genin, that means he was special in some sort of way. Because we see the Hidden Leaf doesn't really, well, Misato Sase doesn't really bend the rules for anybody. They do not really do that. Like, you have to do the task no matter what. You have to do this no matter what. They don't bend the rules because you're special. Unless you're like this super massive magic prodigy, bitch. You ain't getting no special treatment. So, I still believe that Riley's the only a ninja now because of pure plot. And if it wasn't for plot, he wouldn't be a ninja at all. And we would never, no one would ever like him because, hey. So my first argument between this, and I'm gonna explain why I like Naruto later on in the video because it's something really emotional. But anyways, so when first meeting Rock Lee, this is the first factor of Rock Lee's character that I'm meeting. I see this ugly looking ass nigga. I'm not gonna put it in. I'm not gonna try to clean slate it or try to blank over it. Right? I'm not gonna try to smooth over it. I'm just gonna lay it out there. Rock Lee is ugly as fuck. No one can tell me differently, and I refuse everyone to disclaim that Rock Lee isn't ugly. I'm gonna tell you that he is ugly as shit, and I put that on God. But this nigga is strong, and I ain't putting it past you. I'm putting it past anybody. Rock Lee is strong, and I would really argue he is stronger than Naruto at that point. But from when Naruto beat Gaara, that's where Naruto's stronger. And he gradually becomes stronger over that period of time and completely outweighs him. And to be honest, even if we were to give Rock Lee screen time to Shippuden, what would it really add up to? Because one, the only reason that it would be there is just to split the fence, and Rock Lee was supposed to die anyways. A lot of people don't know this, but Rock Lee and Neji were supposed to die way earlier. In Neji's case, die way earlier, and Rock Lee's case, die, but Rock Lee didn't die. So, and I was like, and the only reason they were saved was because of the fans, and I don't really care. I like Neji's character, how he grew over the time, and Kuritoyama really did like Neji or Neji or Rock Lee because you saw what he did, how he made Rock Lee seem the first meeting they had, and I would like people to look back on that, right? To go to that and look at what Rock Lee stands for: hard work and not underestimating any of his enemies. Then we go back to the first point of the first time we meet him. And we look at the Naruto and Rock Lee encounter. Now, we watching that and we looking at it. How do you see it now? When you heard his goals and how he's adjusted himself. What do you see now? that pure and utter cockiness that he had during that whole entire time. Yes, he called for the smoke, and yeah, he dished out the smoke, so he had words to back up his mouth. But wasn't his whole thing that he was like power of youth and being fair to everyone? And I'd be like, wow, that's really interesting how he just completely ignored Naruto to go fight Sasuke, the genius of the group. No, sorry, the prodigy of the group, quotation marks. And then let's get back into the factor why people think he's a better main character. And now this is where I'm gonna go into why I like Naruto personally. Now Naruto, let's start with Rock Lee. They say Rock Lee is a better main character because he has been down in the trenches, right? He's been down in the trenches, like he's been this and that. But no, and people say it would have been worse if Rock Lee got the Nine Tails. But nigga, realistically, that would never happen. Rock Lee would never get the Nine Tails. And if you're gonna say, oh well, if he was no, because if he was Kuchina's child or Minato's Kuchina's child, which was the only way it was gonna happen, he would have chakra, and y'all wouldn't be saying the same shit. He would just basically be with Naruto, but uglier. And hell yeah, but uglier. That's all Rock Lee would have been. That's all he would have ever been. Like, to be honest with you, because it would have defeated the fact that he was an Uzumaki, to defeated the fact that he was a Namikaze if he had no chakra at all, no skill at all. He couldn't do the Rasengan, which is just his father's own jutsu. Garbage, trash. Like that's all it would have ever been. He was just this whole bundle of expectation and prodiginess, right? And then you just to put it on the ground and stomp over it and just say fuck it. That's all Rock Lee would have ever been. And even giving him the hatred that was put upon Naruto was like, hey, the fuck. Now let's get into why I like Naruto personally. People say because Naruto was this Naruto was a genius. Naruto's father was a genius. He was a fourth Hokage, and Naruto was the reincarnation of this and that. That's why Rock Lee is better. It's better because of this and that and that. But won't you shut up for a bit? You shut the fuck up. Like, shut your garbage ass up. Because look at this, right? You are no better than the villagers. What did these villagers do? They hated Naruto for no reason. They hated him for the fact that he had the Nine Tails, and now you're saying Rock Lee is a better main character than Naruto because of his family. No, let me justify that. The person that he was the reincarnation was. Now, let's go back on who Ashura as a person was. He was an untalented person. He had a lot of potential, but untalented. But guess what he did? He used, instead of having all this power, he just was just so fucking kind that people respected him. He was just so fucking kind that people respected him. But yeah, and let's talk about Hashirama too. Hashirama, because let's not forget, Hashirama is also Naruto's reincarnation. Because a lot of people forget this, but Hashirama was an Ashura reincarnation too. Right? Hashirama was born in a time of war, but still proceeded to be this happy-go-lucky person, and yet had these funny moments. Although being such a hard-worded shinobi. That looks like Naruto. Naruto is the epiphany of nigga. I came from the trenches all the way up. All the cards were stacked against me, but I was like, fuck it, I'ma be that nigga. Because Naruto as a kid, and you're saying that Naruto had all of this, but what did Naruto really have? Did Naruto have parents at all? No. He found out who his parents was, but what's a second of meeting for your parents compared to everyone's their whole life having their parents? It meant a lot for Naruto for that one glimpse of time that he got to meet his parents, right? And no one knows how it feels ever. How it feels not to see your father at your birthday party. Your father near your mother, right? When I was growing up, right, I didn't have any of my parents. My parents were off somewhere. I didn't know they were. I did, and for a long period of time, I filled that gap. I filled that gap with a person that I can't even remember now. Because when I was a kid, right, there was a person that looks like my father. Because I had a basic description of who my father looked like because of pictures. And I saw him, right, and he looked exactly like him. And I just started calling him my father, but now I can't even find him. When I ask my parents about him, they say they don't know because they can't remember. But only reason I can remember because I just one day I just got up and remembered. And I went searching for pictures and I got one of them. And for my whole life, I never really had my father there with me. Yes, he was alive and I knew exactly what country he was in, but I never knew where he was though. I had my mother there, and I only met my mother recently for the first time a few years ago, which is like 4 to 3 years ago, right? That's when I first met my mother, right? And not just to find out that my mother has more children, which I only knew she had one child after me, which was my sister. I knew that, right? I knew that for most, and I put on quotes. I haven't met my sister from the time I met my mother. So when I met my mother, I also met my sister. I love my sister to death, but I cannot give you for the life of me ever remember her name. Because guess what? I never really raced up with her. And to pair with the fact of my horrible memory just makes it even worse. And it has me feeling like this what do you call this, right? A deadbeat brother, right? Because I want to be there for my sister. But I can't because I'm in a whole other country. And and shit, the pandemic now. Like, the fuck am I supposed to do? And I relate to Naruto because he never had his parents. Like, this nigga was alone for majority of his life. And people say, oh, he had the third Hokage, he had this, he had that. But to be honest, what was the third Hokage doing? And don't let me get started on Kakashi. Damn, I like Kakashi, he's cool as shit. But he's a crappy ass student. No less a crappy ass teacher too. Because a lot of people forget. Naruto asked Kakashi for training, and who did he send him off with? Who did he send him off with? Fucking even is his name? I can't remember his name, bro. That's how irrelevant this nigga was. All I can remember is to tell you that was Konohamaru's teachers too. That's all I can tell you, bro. Thank God Naruto find Jiraiya at that point in time, because who knows where Naruto would have been without Jiraiya. Kakashi has had multiple chances. Yes, I believe the theory that Kakashi looked over Naruto when he was a kid, because we do know Ambu was looking at Naruto because he was a 9th Jinchuriki, because they had to. But like, was that enough? Like, was that, look at yourself and look at me and say, was that enough for Naruto? Was that even enough? Because of majority of the cast be like, Naruto, you never had parents, so you don't understand what it is to lose them. But look at Naruto slide back for a bit, right? Do you know how it is not to have parents at all? Do you know how it is? Do you know how it is to feel utterly alone in the world? Do you know? You don't, right? So what gave people in their entirety? I know this is a fictional character. He's not real, but it's just disrespectful for other people, because for other people, Naruto means more than just this fictional character. Naruto is this closure character. This character that's been through his bearings and been through the rocks and been through all of the mudslides you can ever have in your entire lifetime, and still came out the best. He is the inspiration of all people. Kaneki for me is one of the best characters, because he was a pussy at the start, and the end he's this badass nigga catching smoke with everyone in that whole entire verse, and no one can beat him. Well, that is the thing of a main character, but he is still goaded. Shit, the anime did bear garbage with this character, but the manga skewed that shit like he was a god. Naruto. Naruto went from the trenches, bro. He was like, I'm gonna be Okama Okage and I'm selling my goals. And yes, Naruto could have been a little bratty sometimes, and I wish he could just appreciate the people he had and stop giving a fuck about the villagers or start giving a shit about everybody, especially Sakura. But I understand where he was coming from that. Like, I can't fictionally relate to it, but like I can see where he was coming from. Oh, and people really need to look into their lives because it's gotten so frequent of me for me not to have my parents to really recognize that everyone else has their parents but me. And most of my classmates, most of my past classmates, most of my past classmates has parents, but I never brought into the factor that the people that I lived with for most of my life were not my parents. They were either my grandparents or my aunts or my uncles. None of them were actually fully related to me in that type of way. They were just people that related to me, yes, but not people like my mother or father. They were just people that took care of me like they were my mother, father, and sisters and brothers. Well, technically, they all are my sisters and brothers because my grandmother adopted me in the end. So everyone that I'm living with right now is my father, my mother, and all the rest of my aunties, quote unquote, are technically me, my sisters, quote unquote. So I understand where Naruto is feeling all alone in the world. Because when it hit me, I have lived like this, right? When it hit me to realize that, yo, I literally have nothing. It's not that I don't have anything, but in terms of family wise, I not now realize like, shit, I I'm I'm irrelevant. Like, it made me feel like I really had no place in the world because when I look back at it and I went to all my friends' birthday parties, I always saw their parents, but I never bought into the factor when I had my parties and when I was a kid, I had my parties, I had my get-togethers, I had my limes, and my parents were never there, but because I never bought into the fact that they were right, I never thought about it that hard. Sure, I now when I've grown up, I understood the circumstances that I was under and how my life would have been if it didn't happen, or if I didn't go go to the if I didn't come with my grandmother, if I didn't factor into the matter of that. But it doesn't make up for the fact that, yeah, leaving my country that where I was originally birthed and leaving my parents behind, right, was the best choice for me, but it doesn't discourage the fact that they were never there when I needed them most. When I was going through the shit, when I got hit by a car, yeah, I got hit by a car, and they weren't nowhere to be found. My parents were off somewhere and only figured out about it the day after it happened. Not the day it happened, a day after. Huh. And you'll be like, well, maybe maybe my parents should have called them as it happened. They did. They did call them. Guess what happened? No one answered. And to say that I see my father, my real father, as my real father would be a lie. It'd be a complete lie to everyone. It'll be absolute false. Because I don't. Honestly, I don't. I call him my father, but I don't really see him as that. I see him as a guy that was supposed to be my father, but failed at the end. But I respect him because he made those sacrifices knowing what was gonna happen, knowing that I wouldn't really see him as my father, but he had to make the choice. It's either risk the love of your child to you as a father or risk his education, his chances in life. And I understand that. I understand it fully because I've matured to the point where I'd be like, well, I understand where you were coming from, and maybe one day I can forgive you. I never said I would forgive you on the spot because nothing like that happens. It's not this wonderful fairy tale like nigga. It's like nigga, grow up. That's all life is, right? Grow the fuck up. Because no one's gonna grow up for you. I'm gonna tell you this here right now. Grow up because no one is gonna grow up for you. And this is going for like the younger people in my shit, right? No one's gonna do shit for you, and no one's gonna ever do shit for you. Everything people do, right? This has become more of an emotional video than anything else, but hey, no one's gonna do anything for you. And if someone does something for you, it's not because they want to do out of kind of their hearts. It's because they want, in the end, they're gonna get something out of this. Like, let's say if I rake leaves today, right, for my great grandmother, right? If I rake leaves today, I'm gonna get money out of that. I know I'm gonna get money out of that. But even if she doesn't give me money, the next time I know she's gonna give me money. So even if I don't get that money now, I'm getting something in return next time. And if I keep getting no money, I'm gonna feel more or less motivated to do it. I'm gonna stop doing it in general. You understand where I'm coming from? So stop hating on Naruto and accept that he's a main character. Accept Rock Lee is a side character. Accept that Rock Lee was supposed to die way earlier. And Rock Lee was supposed to die in general. Accept Neji was supposed to die. Accept everything that happened as it happened. Because no one's going to change it now. It's not going to get retconned. And I refuse to believe, if it does get retconned, I'm only mad. But I'm going to stop watching the show? No. Because Naruto was this masterpiece. No matter how much flaws, no matter how much filler, no matter people want to fucking say how it was garbage, it's not. It really isn't. And to say that Naruto, and I would never accept it. I would even go as far as saying that Naruto is stronger than Goku. But that's my opinion, not anybody else's. And it's not true. But that's my opinion. And no one can tell me differently. No one should have a choice in what I think. If I say Goku's stronger than Naruto, no one should have an opinion. If I say Naruto's stronger than Goku, no one should have an opinion because it's my opinion, not yours. Go with your own opinion and say, well, no, Goku's stronger than Naruto. Shit, you're right. You're probably right. But do I care? No. Because in this world, your opinion really doesn't matter to anyone. People are gonna say, yeah. But what if? Yeah, but that. People are gonna say, oh wait, but that could happen. It doesn't matter what you say or do. In the end, it leads up to nothing. Because how much effort you put into the world is never really gonna make a big impact unless you're this monumental hero. Nothing's gonna make a big impact. Shit, I may be making videos now. Shit, I might become a manga artist. Shit, I might do this. I might do that. Bitch, I might become a voice actor. But it's really gonna do anything? Shit, it's gonna make me money. But what am I gonna do with that money? Go to college? Bitch, I'm already doing it. What am I gonna do after that? Because if I become one of any of those things, I'm self-employed for the most part. So I can do shit at home. What am I gonna do at home? Nothing. So I'll just be doing what I do all the time. Nothing. So, guys, I hope this inspired some of you. Hope it makes some of you better. I hope it made you see the world in a different light and see how the world for it really is. Cause to be honest, the world ain't shit. Earth ain't shit. The universe ain't shit because everything ends up meaning nothing to the world. Because no matter how much effort you put in, how much heart you do something, how much you change, in the end everything would be reset. And I have this fatal belief, right? And hear me out for a bit, right? I have this belief, right, that humanity just resets itself. And you're saying like, wait, what? What? So you're trying to tell me that things that we've invented now that were so easy hasn't been invented years back, thousands of years back, like when the dinosaurs, like, you're trying to expect me to not think that happened a long time ago, since it was so easy for us to do now, and things that we take for granted Why couldn't people down there do it? And I'd be like, and you'll be scratching your head like, what do you mean? What are you saying? This is a hypothesis. I'm gonna put this out here. This is a hypothesis, but I believe when an asteroid hit, it's a cycle. So everyone is going through a cycle. So everyone is here, right? So let's call this the 20th generation, right? We don't know how much generations is gonna pass and by. Let's call this the 20th generation. We have not been reset yet. So let's say we get to the 500th generation. Then asteroid will come back and hit us again. Then we'll be reset all the way to the point of the first generation. You understand where I'm coming from? Because it's like everyone is being reset in a constant loop. So we're not supposed to get too far, or we're not supposed to get all the way back. We're supposed to advance to a certain point and then rekindle what the survivors from the 20th generation to come back and rebuild everything from scratch. So that's what I think is my hypothesis. Is how the world works. It's really interesting, but this is my tangent. I've done with my tangent. I'm done, and this video's ending. It's 26 minutes. Shit, this is as long as it would have. So see you guys.